Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl JK. I'm so happy, excited to welcome you to another episode edition of the BRR Show. And on the BRR Show, we talk about business, relationship, and real life issues. And today, I have an amazing personality as my guest. We have Dr. Emerie Agunwah in the building. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll be talking about tips for achieving personal development today. And before we go into tips to achieving personal development, I'd like you to first tell us what is personal development in the first place.
Okay. Thank you. I think, in my opinion, defined personal development, right? So we're talking about internal frameworks, okay, that someone has put in to enable them become, okay.
Better.
So that's is for me this the definition for personal
Personal development.
development. What is inside that one has put in the framework, the support structure that one has put in to enable them become what they want to become.
Okay. That is amazing. All right. So is personal development important to everyone?
I mean, it's just like personal hygiene, right? Who doesn't want to develop? If it's personal development is the basis for all forms of success. Okay, without that, how else do you translate something from one person to an organization, or probably from an individual to a community or a nation or a country, anything? Okay, so I think it's basically one of the most important things that every individual should seek to attain, which is build a holistic framework for personal development. Because if we do not have it, then we can as well say goodbye to any form of success.
In the
Okay,
first place.
so it's as important as anything you can ever think of.
Does personal development have any age restriction? You know, some people say he's still a child, leave him alone. Don't worry, he would learn that when he becomes an adult.
Uh,
Some people say that.
so let's open this up a little bit,
All
okay?
right.
So we're looking at personal development. So at what point does someone turn into a person? Okay, they start up before they are fully aware, and then move into when they are fully aware. Okay, so we're talking about a child. They are not fully aware of who they are, but a couple of things are built into their subconscious. Okay, that's what we call background. Okay,
Yes.
people are dealing with a lot of background, a lot of systems that we are introduced to by default. So we're talking of personal development. um, it has to become intentional if the system that formed you did not form you well. Okay, but if the system that formed you in your subconscious state formed you well, then you have a build. You build on
You
top
have
of
something to
something.
build on, to develop
Okay, but
on.
so it's not an age thing. Okay, that's why it's important that the society helps in molding people, family helps in molding people when they are in their formative years. Okay, and we know that basically all of us in everybody that's alive today can say that bulk of their life is either building on things that happened to them on their formative years, or trying to break out from things that happen to
To
them on their
them.
formative years, from eating habits to sleeping habits to reading culture, communication concept, success indices, everything. Okay, it's built
Absolutely.
that when you see somebody who knows that I have an exam to write, somebody, the person in the subconscious, they're told to prepare for an examination. Okay, it's easier for the person to learn how to prepare to win in the real world, probably in business or a career or anything. Different from the other person who failed, wasn't groomed well, wasn't nurtured very well. That person had to unlearn that system so they can now become. Okay, so there's no age restriction for me. I think the earlier the better. Okay, and from infancy, one needs to start paying attention to personal development.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From what you've said, I'm just going to use that example to ask the next question that I want to ask, which is how affordable is personal development? Because you talked about on learning and then you cited an example like when you want to write an exam, you have to prepare for it. How affordable is it? Is personal development cheap?
So now I'm lost here because now we're dealing with affordability when we've not even figured out what does it cost in the first place. Okay, is it expensive? Well, before we start talking about affordability,
Okay.
there are formal ways of personal development, but I believe that learning is beyond the formal systems. Okay, I could decide to build myself by observation. Okay, you know that an average person, an average lady who knows how to cook, didn't go to a catering school, right?
Yes.
They learn by observation. They learn by observing how their parents prepare for meals and how, probably how the mom taught her.
Cooked.
So it's by observation. So before I get to the whole concept of is it affordable, I don't believe in affordability. I believe that how has someone figured out why they need to learn? Because what we're looking at is building the frameworks to enable you become who you want to become. There are a couple of you
Absolutely.
can learn from someone else's mistake. You can learn from movies. You can learn from reading books. You can learn from going to school. Basically, Nigeria has the cheapest form of education anywhere
Education.
in the world. So you're looking at that. So not necessarily that expensive, but what I think we should be talking about is the willpower, the willpower, the will, okay, to go for personal development is beyond.
How hungry are you to develop
Yes,
yourself
it's
personally?
beyond affordability. It's beyond how bad do you want it. Yeah, do
Okay.
you really want to develop? Okay, it's not so much about affordability. It's about how much do you want it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll just go straight into the topic, which is tips for achieving personal development. So you can list out some tips.
Okay. So so I don't believe in so much of tips because tips means
Okay.
that makes it breaks it down to quite limited structures. Okay,
Okay.
but I would rather have to. I would like to look at it from the mindset needed for
Personal
personal development.
development.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because the moment you get the mindset, you can find your own tips for yourself. Okay, and first of all, I believe in something which is one of my personal mantra that if it's ever done, then it's outdated. Okay,
Okay.
so that means there should be a personal hunger level in personal development. So if you don't want it, then no amount of tips will make you develop yourself. Okay, but the moment there's hunger level, then you keep benchmarking between where you think you should be and where you are, and you now find what comes in between. So, for instance, how do I tell you tips for personal development when you don't even have an idea where you should be?
In the
Okay,
first place.
okay, where you don't have an idea. We were discussing something earlier today, and I was just saying how many ladies can host a dinner, private dinner in their homes. Okay, do you know what it takes to host dinner in your home? Okay, probably how many persons know that? Okay, how many guys know how to do a toast in an occasion? I mean, some of them are pretty simple, but the moment you become aware and become hungry, you find that everything comes to you. And one of I believe firmly in the fact that the moment you start seeking out for particular information, the information starts
Comes
seeking
to you.
for you. Okay, so you open yourself up. I was sharing that thought that said, if someone says, join me um, for an evening event, a jazz show, do you know how to dress for that event? How else are you supposed to know if you are not always benchmarking yourself with the very best? So beyond the tips, I'll rather look at the mind that forms, builds the desire. Okay, we're looking at who knows what is required for them. Okay, so the moment you figure out the gap, so for instance, an average entrepreneur can tell you, "Oh, well, I've learned a couple of things in being an entrepreneur. I think by now I can do that." But let's break it down. How many entrepreneurs know what happens in a boardroom? Okay, do you know the boardroom politics? Do you know what happens? Do you know the role of board secretary? Do you know the role of this? Reason is that in their mind they have not conceived, they have not captured the boardroom engagement in their
In the
whole
first place, they
scope
had never
of
thought of it.
entrepreneurship. So how do they develop in that area, because in the meantime, it's not so much about tips. First of all, if I want to go into tips, I'll start mentioning things that are going to be quite pedestrian, but that wouldn't work, because it's not about listing few things that people wouldn't work with. The moment you have your mind is put fixated on growth, it will come
Everything
naturally
you
to you.
require.
You will find yourself always seeing the gaps. You'll find yourself always noticing the gaps all the time. You'll find reasons to improve. You find options to improve, like always. Okay. So nobody will tell you to pay anything. The moment you
Okay.
see that, you would find that you should pay for that thing.
Absolutely. You don't need to be cajoled or
Yeah,
persuaded. Once you see the need for it,
absolutely.
the mindset needs to change first before you can develop yourself personally. Do you think that lack of personal development can affect any relationship?
What kind of relationship? All kinds of relationship?
All kinds.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's focus on maybe a man and a woman.
Okay, which is basically the primary function of
Yes,
relationship. Everybody
relationship.
has a relationship
So
with
the
a man and
lack
a
of
woman.
personal development, can it affect a relationship between two people? Because I've seen some scenarios where the girl will tell you, yes, 4 years ago I was cool with this guy, but presently I have gone, ahead, even in my mind, mentally, psychologically. So I'm basically just managing this person because I'm here and this guy is here. So can you just throw more light on that?
I'm more of a businessman, not a relationship coach. But since we're moving in that direction, we can as well cruise. Yeah.
All right.
So the truth is that personal development affects everything. Is your outlook to life. Okay, and every relationship that is successful or has failed is built on these things. Basically, some persons grew apart. Okay,
Yeah.
because what we're looking at is I'm growing at a pace, and but I can't share with my partner my growth stages because they are not at that
On
level.
the level we
Okay,
share.
I have some function. I'm supposed to be probably at a dinner with Mr. Governor, Mr. President, uh, but I know that probably my partner is loud and will mess up the whole conversation because we are not growing at the same pace anymore. And you have to, there are surprise factors. I remember since you moved into relationship, is not my zone, yeah, but we can talk a little bit about that.
That's
I
fine.
remember one of my proteges that having a little bit of issue and with the relationship. And I asked him, so when did he start? He said he decided to pay the girlfriend a surprise visit in the office,
Oh,
and after the surprise visit, the relationship went south. And I said, so tell me how you dressed for the event. And he said he just was coming from site, he was wearing his jean and strolled in. I said, no, the relationship you just killed it because when what you should do, you should know is that the moment you show up in her office, anything you do in her office has an amplifier. Okay, it's going to rub off on her. It's going to be amplifying beyond measure. And if you came in as a cute guy, smart guy, intelligent,
you'll be hailing her in the office.
her rep has increased, but you showed up like handyman. I mean, the relationship has to go south. She has to deal with that all the time. In fact, the more she tells people that she's still with you, her
It just
reputation
reminds her of
her
how
reputation
the
goes
thing is
further
going
down.
down.
But what makes her come up now is to tell them, no, that relationship is over. We don't have anything. I've moved beyond him. Okay, not you, but you didn't build yourself. She's growing. Okay, and that's why I believe that if one is ever going to build personal development, remember you are not bigger than the association, you're not bigger than your friends. Okay, and they say that if your friends, if your friends, you have 10 friends that are doing well, you're probably going to be the 11th one that is doing well. Okay, but the truth is that you are not bigger than your network. I would have asked the question. So, what kind of conversations happen in the cliques that we keep? Okay, do friends talk about personal grooming, personal development,
Do
engagement.
they want to get better?
So there are a couple of places that people should develop. I remember we know that there are areas, 8 dimensions of human wellness. One is spiritual, the other one is physical. We have the social, we have the financial, we have the occupational, we have the intellectual. Okay, we have the environmental. There are a couple of them, and we're asking yourself, so is if we are developing, you have to develop on all these fronts.
Okay.
Okay, because nothing is as bad as a guy looking cute and dandy, but he knows nothing about his occupation. He knows nothing about his work,
That's sad.
or he can't engage people in public. He can't just flow in a normal conversation. He's just always the odd man out, and you come into, you know, there's this disappointment you have when you see a cute guy. He said, "Come over to my place." I come to his house. You're completely disappointed. Okay, like, you know, towels on the door, everything messed up, and
Disorganized.
you're wondering
I
who
say,
is this
how?
dude, right?
You
So,
can't match the
but
two.
the moment you grow, you stretch your mind. Everybody knows what is good, right? So your scale. So does it affect relationship? Yes, that is the basis, okay, for all relationship success and failures. Now another thing happens when someone who has developed
Okay.
is with someone who does not understand what development means. So the person is either suffering from insecurity or probably a certain level of nonchalancy that they do not even understand whether whether they don't see the development that is happening in the other partner. So you now find the person taking the person who is growing for granted, while the other person's friends consider the person completely up there. Okay, so somebody looks down on one while other persons have a concept of growth and they appreciate the other. That's why people say people cheat, yeah?
Yes.
Because someone with you takes does not understand your growth level, while someone outside sees your growth level,
And then you feel like
and you were naturally drawn to
there's a
people
connection.
who appreciate how far you've grown. Okay, it's just the same thing why people don't like going home, because if you're the last born in your home, you get back to your family house, they'll never see the growth in your life. They see you
Absolutely.
as the last born, so you know that you're never going to go there,
So
right?
once you get home, you're just gonna wash the plates.
So you stop going. You get it? So that's what happens. It happens in relationship, happens in everything, happens at work, happens everywhere. And it also happens at work predominantly because imagine when the leader of an organization has stopped growing, but the people who work under him
I'm
are
working on
growing. So,
themselves.
over time, they just know that this system, they have already outgrown the system, because personal development means that I'd rather have it that my boss corrects my English, but not the other way around.
Mm.
If I'm the one correcting his English, I know that, hey, I
You
can
shouldn't
ask,
even be in that company
yes, you get the
anymore.
thing down. So that's basically how it works. So it's everything. Okay,
It's
it's
everything.
everything.
That's true. Okay, so we are in an era where social media is a major part of everybody's life. So, what is the impact of social media on personal development?
Okay. I would have called it the impact of social media in personal underdevelopment,
Oh wow!
because
Why would you say
I
that?
think social media has played a massive role in underdeveloping the people who should be developed. Okay,
That is
we know that
serious.
somehow for people to work into media spaces, there's some level of growth and
Absolutely.
qualification for them to become certain role models in people's faces. But what
Sure.
social media did was that he made everybody a media giant, meaning that one idiot wakes up from the backside of his house, decides
Carries
to
his phone
go naked, go nude, do a manner of things, say all manner of things,
and
sing all
gets
manner
the
of things,
popularity.
and all you're looking at is that the more these persons are in our faces, they underdevelop us personally. Okay, so you
Wow.
realize that if you take the model of the people that you've interacted with or you call role models on social media and you take it to the real world, you're already a failure, right? So a couple of, I don't want, should I mention names here? Let me not mention the person's name, but I know there's a
Just describe him.
popular celebrity out there. She's pregnant at the moment,
Oh ha.
and I mean, looking trashy, everything with her tummy all open. I will not
All
mention
the
her name,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. All the time.
But you know, somehow she's forming.
Forming a mindset
Yes,
and
people are looking
acceptance.
at
Like
her,
it's okay for me to
and
do
but
that.
there's nothing classy about that. It's all ras and messed up, yeah.
Cross.
And you look at it, but now she's set it
Even
up,
trending.
yeah.
They even made a statue, I think, for her.
And by the end of the day, you know that just by her doing that with millions of followers, she has set a lot of women backwards, right? And Sheila won't solve that problem. We know that. I mean, a lot of their minds have gone way back. And because some persons who are not qualified to lead in certain places,
Are
no longer
leading.
censorship, nothing, they've become role models. I was discussing this earlier today. I said, how many guys know how to knot a tie? Okay,
Okay.
how many guys know the side of the
The
how to
right side.
the right side for a belt to start to move in?
Okay.
Okay, you don't move belts from all sides.
Oh,
Okay,
I
now
just
people
found
don't know
out
that.
today.
You know the shoe you know the shoe you have to lace first. Do you know that it's not proper dressing for a guy to put on his shirt before his trousers?
I'm aware of
Okay,
that one.
so a guy needs to put up his trousers, put up before he put on his shirt. But now a lot of things happen because nobody pays attention to personal development. But the standards are still
The
there.
same, whether you're doing
Okay.
the wrong thing or not,
The
the right thing is the right
earlier
thing.
today we were discussing when I mentioned about ladies who still don't know how to host a
To
dinner.
host a dinner,
Do they know the
absolutely.
difference between wine glass and champagne glass? Or do we call all of them tumblers? Or do we know
You
how
just
all
say
this stuff?
wine glass.
Okay, so when we're looking at all this stuff, do we know which one is on the left? Is it the knife?
Even your
Is it on the fork?
cutlery, there's a way you arrange them.
Okay, so
If you're
now
still eating, if you're done eating, if you want more
modeling, right?
role
So
modeling,
we said,
okay?
who is your mentor? Who is your role model? And just in case you are wondering who you are following, next time you have your Instagram page, go to the persons that you are following and see the persons who influence your life. Okay. I judge people not by the people that follow them, but people that they follow, because you intentionally click the follow button and you follow them. I think I follow a whole lot of persons now, and I hope that I'm going to detox by the end of the month. I
Oh,
follow
so you
as
plan to detox
Yes,
soon?
I follow as much as 12 persons. I think 12
12?
is significant on Instagram at the moment.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
where I'm following 12 persons to, right? So, and
Sorry,
yes,
you
because
shocked me.
when you're following that 12 persons is significant. I'm following them too.
Oh,
But
wow.
I'm
Sam, do you
wondering,
have that on video?
if the people that influence people. So if you're looking at a hack, the first hack to personal development is to figure out the people you are
Your
following.
mindsets, the people
Okay.
you're
And
following,
you
your
get
role
your
models.
mentor. That's why I'm looking at mentors and role models. That's the easiest way. Not the ones you call role models, but the one you really follow are the ones you follow on Instagram. They're the ones that feed you everything that you do, right? The other thing is to have proper time management, because
Time
basically, because
management.
life is about time, and what you use your time for determines what your outcome will be.
What you
Okay.
achieve in life.
So that's why I believe in writing to dos every day. I write my to dos
Your
every day.
to-do list.
To do
You should
list.
write it. You should write it every
I
day.
write it, but also I learn how to calibrate my time. Most of the time I don't keep to it, but some of the time, but most of the time I try to keep to it. There are 24 hours in a day,
Absolutely.
divided into 4 equal parts. Okay, 6 hours of sleep, 6 hours of forward time, which is what I do in the office, hours of upward time, which is what I do for personal growth and
Personal
learning, and a
development.
couple of things. Then 6 hours for family time and fun. Okay,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I spread. So what I do is that I ensure that people for each spaces, not people who are here, people who are me are people who fit in more than one of these slots. Okay,
Okay.
then that's people who are pretty close, because
Really?
that's my life's all about. So you put in there, and spend time in this, spend time in this. Then before I borrow money, I learn how to time. So what it means is that if
Oh,
I need stuff, I'll cut out on time of fun and invest it in time of this, then find that result and put it. Everything has value for money, right? So
absolutely.
that's basically
The
hacks for personal
hacks.
development. And when people see how you respect your time, they respect your time too. When you call me during work hours and want about what I say, to please call me after work, okay? And when I tell you 2 times, 3 times, everybody
It
respects
will
your time,
stick.
okay?
Yeah.
And I would have mentioned this, but that will sound too extreme.
Please mention it. It's okay.
The same reason why I stopped watching football is because of personal development. I ask myself, if my presence will not change the outcome of the match, then
Of
I'm
what
not
benefit?
then I'm not needed there, right? So if after watching the match I can make it 2-1, take from 2-1 to 2-2, then of what reason I'm not supposed to be there? There are a couple of places where my presence are needed, and I don't want to ruin something that my presence will affect with something that my presence will affect.
Wow. Dr. Mary, but football is entertainment.
As that same I'm talking about. Some dudes are there making some real dough, and I'm
Like
here.
cool cash.
Yes, and I don't have a problem if you made all the money you're supposed to make or made all the impact you're supposed to make. Let it be a reward for good job well done. So, for instance, social media.
Yeah, social media.
I do social media after work. That's my reward for a great day, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
if I don't have a great day, I skip work till I finish it up. This is the distraction. This is the new cocaine, is it not?
To an extent.
Yes, if you have 2,000 naira, there's a likelihood they're going to use 1,000 naira to
To
buy
buy
data,
data.
right? And use
Mm-hmm.
the other 1,000 to use another 500 to buy data from that one, right?
Hmm.
You can go hungry to buy data.
People are doing
So
it.
this is the reason why a lot of persons who might not be personally developed. You bought it with your own money. You bought your distraction, your
You're
failure
funding
with
it
your own
with your own
money.
money.
Yes.
Wow.
So you're corporate. See, let's say I
Wow.
see a policeman, tell him, please kindly arrest me. I'm killing myself. Moreover, that's suicide. In Nigeria, it's also something that you should go die for if you fail in suicide. But killing somebody's time too.
Killing somebody's time.
Okay,
Oh,
we are also guilty of that. So next time you see a policeman, please tell him, arrest me for killing people's time. I'm killing my time. I'm
oh,
guilty as
I'm
charged.
guilty.
Okay,
I'm a criminal of time.
just kidding. Yeah.
Wow, wow. It's been an amazing time talking to Dr. Emerie Agunwah. And then I didn't mention earlier, he's the managing partner as HG&W Consultants Limited. And we've been talking about tips to achieve personal development, but then we didn't talk about tips. We talked about hacks. So you need to listen to the full video to enjoy and learn and personally develop yourself. Social media may not develop you. You need to let go of social media. Okay, before we come to the end of the show and say bye bye, what would you like to say to any young person watching us right now?
Okay.
Final
So I
words.
have a problem with what I have to say to any young person. Why must
Okay.
they be young? What do I have to
Anybody.
say to anybody? Yeah, anybody who is listening, they mustn't be young. Well, okay, so all I'm just saying is that there's a whole lot that one can be. Potential is not a compliment. Anytime you hear that you have a potential, it means that there's a whole lot you can do that you've not done. So instead of just waiting and watching time pass by, get your hands to work and be the best version of who you're supposed to be. Okay, and
Wow.
that's all I can say to everybody, young, old, male, female.
Children,
Yeah,
teenagers.
okay, just always put pressure on yourself, be the best version of yourself. Okay, let them say anything they want to say. Moreover, if they're talking about you, it means that you're ahead of them. Okay,
Oh, wow. If they're talking about you, it means that you are ahead of them. Thank you very much, Dr. Emerie. I've learned so much from talking to you. We've come to the end of today's BRR show, the business relationship and real life issues show. You know what? Follow us on YouTube at TLIG Africa TV. Subscribe, comment, like, suggest, refer. Whomever you want us to bring on the show and you want us to talk to, you can refer the person, and then you'll be shocked. That will be my next guest on the show. Thank you for joining me today. It's still your girl JK. Follow me on Instagram at JKAY_OAP, and I'll be putting lots of updates there.